It's another beautiful day right here, and this is Johnny's Roundtable. Well, when we talk about Roundtable, the first thing that should come to your mind is discussion, and we will be looking at some very important headlines of the program this beautiful evening. Well, it is Monday, so much happening. The papers had enough, but then we would take just a few out of the papers. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo, and I would be joined by two very important guests. These are VIP guests. Well, let me just let you know that some persons have frowned. Let me use the word frowned or complained, or should I say murmur, whichever one you want to pick out of it, go ahead. About the president's travel, that on some papers they said he has traveled spent 22 days in a month on a journey, as it has to do with traveling. And there were issues, all right, when it was being said that so much is being spent on this journey as far as forex is concerned, because if you're traveling out of Nigeria to another country, you need to convert our currency to the currency of that country. And I should be asking you the value of our naira if it's been converted to other currency. Some persons will be of the school of thought that yes, he is the president and the place of diplomatic relations can be taken away. So he had to travel. He just came back from Turkey, and so much happened there. A lot of transactions took place. And apart from that, we are also going to look at so many other issues. Are you aware that there is a rumor in the air about an alliance between Kwankwaso and Peter Obi in ADC? And someone who has been eyeing the presidential position in ADC, who looks more like one of the, I don't know, should I call him leaders in the ADC, is trying to port again to ADP. Well, all of this will be talked about, and a host of other headlines will be looked at right away on Journalist Roundtable. I said I will be joined by two guests on the program. Rex will be joining us via he's having a lot of some delay, traffic or something, so he will be joining us online. Then later he will join us live, possibly. But then I have right here in the studio a man who is in depth as it has to do with analysis. Well, sometimes I'm being tempted to call him a politician, because show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. Ubo Usoro is right here with me. Ubo, it's good to have you on Journalist Roundtable.
Always a pleasure to join.
Thank you very much. How is ADC doing? I didn't say you're a member of ADC.
Why focus on ADC?
No, I'm not saying you're a member of ADC, because I know they had a program. They had an event today,
they had inauguration.
And I'm suspecting that you were there.
Yeah, they had.
That's what I'm asking.
I cover ADC, of course, so it was for work purpose. But they had the inauguration of a policy and manifesto committee made up of 50 persons, which they call the wise men. The 50
wise men and women.
Yes, wise men and women.
The inauguration was today.
Was today, and former Edo State governor and former APC national chairman, John Oyego, is the chairman of the committee, and the former Senate President, David Mark, inaugurated the committee today. Their ADC's office here in Wuse to Abuja, and charged them to think around policies around education, agriculture, infrastructure, security, and Nigeria as a whole, and bring it so that the party can put up a manifesto and also present to their candidates as a guideline for whoever comes into ADC, that this is what we stand for. So for me, I think that's where ADC is at the moment, right? A lot of respected Nigerians are part of the committee. Professor Patu Tomi is national vice chairman of the committee. Saliu Lukman is the secretary of the committee. Former Senator Akpanodo from my state, a very respected politician, is part of the committee. Emeka Nyedioha, former Imo State governor, is member of it, and a lot of other persons, Sam Amadi, a lot of very many prominent Nigerians who think through from all walks of life. The academics are there, the politicians are there, civil society actors, to just think about a framework that can work for this project called Nigeria. I think that's where they are now.
All right, that's beautiful. That's, by the way, it's already in the news, and of course, we needed to talk about that. But I'm still returning to ADC, but that's going to be later because of the rumor flying in the air. You know, sometimes we give it a perspective from the journalist angle because a lot of people know us for fairness, saying the truth, and
being unbiased.
Being unbiased. So we'll tackle it from there. If porting from one party to the other is the solution. If somebody that has been in the party for a very long time, then somebody from outside will come and he will get more support than the person. We'll talk about that. That's ADC. That's going to be much later. But everyone, now it's time for us to look at some major headlines around the globe. First of all, let's begin from Tinubu, abroad 22 days in 1 month. Okay, that's Tinubu spent 22 days abroad in 1 month. That's what it means. So what do you think about that? Don't you think it's proper, it's normal, and for the purpose of diplomatic relations, bilateral relations, and so many other things?
Right, so the data is actually correct, right? According to data, the president may have spent over 22 days outside Nigeria, and we saw destinations including China, Brazil, the UK, Qatar, UAE, and France being among the top destinations of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for 2026. So just January, 31 days, 26 days, the president was not around in the country. And I think Peter Obi was the person that raised the alarm and said, president has not been home. But we can put that into context. There could be many issues and many reasons why the president will not be in the country, right? People could talk about diplomacy and foreign relations. How does the president travel? Talking to other heads of states, trying to engage with other global leaders, because there are a lot of issues that Nigeria is dealing with at the moment, and we cannot, as Nigeria, as a country, we cannot tackle those issues alone. We need global collaboration. We could talk about insecurity, being one of them. So that could be an argument advanced on the side of the handlers of the president as to the fact that, he's been traveling, seeking stability for Nigeria's security problem. And we could also talk about economic engagement. The president comes from a business background, an accounting background. We find that tones, engagement economically. People could also see that he's been image building, trying to build Nigeria's image. Of course, we know Nigeria's image has been fractured over time because of lackadaisical political will and even some fraudulent activities carried out by just a few Nigerians that have tinted the country as people who are fraudulent. So the president has also been outside trying to market, the team Nigeria. That could, but there's been a lot of criticism, as you mentioned, right? Some Nigerians are concerned that a president in a country where a lot of persons cannot afford to fly. I saw one of the ambassadors designate, Reno Omokri, posting that a flight from, I think, Abuja to Owerri at the moment is 108,000. And he's saying that's an achievement. It was over 500,000 some months ago. But let's even ask ourselves, how many Nigerians can afford 108,000 at the moment to travel? So those issues are there. That we have the president's globe trotting, we have the president going all over the world, when at the moment a lot of Nigerians cannot afford to fly. So it shows a large disparity between how we run our businesses, how we run our country, and what is the place of the Nigerian citizen. Traveling is very expensive now. Traveling is very expensive at the moment. Even if you want to say, I'm not flying, I want to use road, it is also very, very expensive. The last I checked, going from maybe the south, going from the north north central like we are, Abuja, to some places in the east can take you like 50,000, even when you are using bus and thereabout. So traveling is very important, and it's very expensive at the moment. So a lot of Nigerians cannot afford. So this could be one of the issues that Nigerians are looking at, and Nigerians are seeing that with the issues we have at home, with the issues we have in the country, this is not the best at this moment. So I understand the criticism. Opposition also will look for things to say, but if we had fixed Nigeria right, will there be need for the president at the slightest provocation to go out? Let's even hope that he's not going on health visit, because we know that this president, most times he flies out for medical reasons, right? So let's even hope he's not going for health reasons. But how many of the presidents in other countries like the US and even the UK, how many times do you hear them leave their country for other countries? So those arguments will be placed side by side. But at the end of the day, I think what is important is the political will to see that Nigeria works.
All right, I think that's important. What's important is the political will to see that Nigeria works. But now there are other things I feel we should also talk about.
Be reasons why he didn't want to put himself, but President Bola Tinubu does not have that, right? So there are situations that the president himself, he's the number one marketer of Nigeria. He's the number one promoter of this Nigerian project. At the moment, he has that responsibility. So there are situations he himself must travel and engage with these investors and engage with certain individuals. I understand that. But away from that, the concerns is the fact that some of the things that the president has gone are things that can be done even by an ambassador, if we had ambassadors in those countries. But you and I know that we do not have these ambassadors yet at the moment. We have people who have been screened, but they've not been assigned countries, right, as ambassadors. So we are still waiting for the president to come back and do that and assign them to countries. So the president too must rethink this strategy. Is this the best strategy? Are you the ones, because already your health and a lot of problems at home, there's a lot of things to be done, so even your presence is needed by Nigerians. So those issues are issues that could be spoken about at this particular level. So but like I said, there are issues that the president himself needs to be there. We've even seen President Donald Trump, and everywhere in the world we've seen them go on trips, engage with investors, do all of those things. So you can still do it as presidential duties, but your primary business is sitting down and making sure that you solve the myriad of Nigerian problems here at home. So I'm not making excuses, but I'm saying that Nigerians have raised the eyebrow that we want our president to be around. We want him to feel what we are feeling. We want him to stand by us and serve with us. We do not want to have a president in absentia, because this same thing happened almost with the administration of Muhammadu Buhari. There was a time that President Muhammadu Buhari was not around for over 3 months. He wasn't in the country. But we understood that at that time, that the president, Muhammadu Buhari, late president.
This right now, Tinubu spends 22 days on foreign trip. Okay, as it is, what do you think about those trips? Is it necessary, or you feel he spent too much time outside the country looking at what's happening in Nigeria?
Well, basically, when you talk about international trips of the president, it's one thing for you to feel is too much, and it's another thing to understand why those trips are happening. Yeah. Now, are those trips official trips, or those trips are they just maybe for vacation or for leisure? That's one thing people also need to understand. Now, we are made to understand that most of these trips that he goes on are official trips that are supposed to create bilateral relationships between other countries and Nigeria. And if you follow it closely, you would understand that most of these trips that he's making is not just making vacation trips. So I'll say Yes, they're important. You can't stop the president from moving, especially when you have to market your country. You can't see it because, yes, I understand the cry that things are going on in Nigeria, especially the insecurity, kidnapping is ongoing, you have terrorism or banditry as the case may be. So people expect that the president should be in the country and be able to face this challenge head on. Yes, and let's also not forget that the president is one man. You have other arms that are supposed to be making these things, or that's supposed to be creating succor for him. Now, what do I mean by that is you have the vice president of the federation who is supposed to be standing in when the president is physically not around in the country. You have the senate president of the federation who also can stand in when both the number one and number two personalities are not around. You have the Speaker of the House of Representatives. You have the various head of these parastatals. So, if the president has given a marching order, for example, to the Nigerian military, and he's saying tackle insecurity, I don't see any reason why you feel the president's presence in Nigeria is going to be responsible for the bandits that are going to be arrested, or is going to be responsible for the terrorists that are going to be apprehended. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. All I'm trying to say is, I understand the kind of people, yes, but they also need to understand that his role, basically, Mr. President's job is supervisory. He's not the soldier on ground. He's not the boots on ground. He's not the one working and trying. His job basically is supervisory. What do I mean by that? Now, you are telling the Minister of Defense, go and tackle this thing. I want to see results. Give me reports. You are telling the Minister of Finance, work on the economy. I want to be able to see this thing work. Give me results and give me reports. You are also telling the Finance Minister the same thing. Humanitarian Minister the same thing. Women Affairs Minister the same. That's why all these appointments are in place. Is because his job basically is supervisory. I give the order and ensure that those orders are carried out.
All right. Then, there is also a complaint for some quarters that about 34 billion naira was spent on forex as far as presidency travels by presidency is concerned. So what do you think about that? Don't you think so much is going down in that aspect when Nigeria is struggling economically, or you feel it's in order? 34 billion is nothing. Is that what you think?
Okay, in all honesty, I'm actually not sure of those figures yet. I try so hard to be careful to dabble into figures when it has to do with the presidency. But looking at it now, let's work with the 34 billion that you called. Is it too much? Looking at the present economic situation of the country, what is this money being spent on? I would want to ask. Because it's not just the journey of Mr. President. Now we're talking about the number one citizen of our country. Let's be open, be truthful, and be honest to ourselves. We understand that there is the economic meltdown. Yeah, we understand that people are going through difficult times in the country. Nobody is disputing that fact. Yes. Now we also need to understand that whether we are going through economic challenges, whether the economy is blossoming, the president still remains the number one citizen of Nigeria. And after that, there are services that would be rendered to him because of the privilege of carrying that office. That office comes with certain privileges that whether we start from today till tomorrow, it's not going to change it. Now, what do I mean? When Mr. President needs to make his journey, whether we like it or not, even if it's a one-day working trip, there are entourage that has to go with him. And this entourage, they are not spending money from their pockets. Hello?
Yeah,
are you there?
I can hear you.
Good. They are not spending money from their pockets. these monies are spent from the coffers of the federal government. The president, if he's going to be spending a night wherever he's spending, the president travels with a full team. Aside from the team of business or economic team that will be going with him, depending on whatever he's traveling for, you have his security details that will go with him. He has his personal chef that will go with him. He has his personal physician, doctors that will travel with him. All these are part of the spending that will take place from the federal government's pocket. Do you understand? Now, the accommodation where he's also going to stay there, it is Nigeria that is going to pay for it.
Oh.
It's not from President Tinubu's pocket.
Oh, all right.
So when you look at some of these things, yes, I understand the cry for the expenses, but the point I'm trying to make here is I'm not saying they are insensitive. All I'm saying is we need to stop crying towards what is being spent, because whether we like it or not, that office comes with privileges that nothing we can do about.
All right. Thank you very much, Kennedy. All right. Let me come to Ubon in the studio right here. According to what they wrote in the papers, they say travel. Presidency spends 34 billion naira, right, on forex. And you know the exchange matter, how naira is, the fluctuation and all of that. So what do you think? It's not all about the traveling now, all right? Like Rex Kennedy was saying, sometimes the president travel with an entourage, and all of that expenses comes from the coffers of the federal government. So now, do you feel some persons are just being political about the whole thing? Because Peter Obi, to be specific, also complained about this.
Right. I don't think, there could be politics played in it, but presidential travel everywhere in the world is costly. Right, in the US, if the president is moving with the Air Force One, we have like 3 other jets that will be moving side by side, for protection. And you have an advanced team. You even have his Cadillac, that will be brought in. Right. So they say moving because the president embodies the people, right? So it comes with a lot of expenses, and these expenses is at the end of the day is tied to the taxpayers. And so a normal Nigerian, an average Nigerian or whoever on the streets or market people, they have the right to scrutinize the spending of the president because they pay the president. The taxes the women in the markets pay is what make up the monies of the president at the end of the day. So they have the right to say, are you doing it in the right way? Because people sweat, and this is our common patrimony, and it is not just one person's thing. But that being said, I think that there are deals that the president himself will have to be there as to give personality, as to give courage, as to give credence to that particular deal. But there are deals that the president may not necessarily need to be there. Because when we talk about this president has preached that Nigeria should bear with him, Nigeria should have hope, that in a short while things will get better. That has been one of the sermons that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has preached to Nigerians. And people have pointed out to him, sir, if you say we should tighten our belts and just bear that it's going to be for a short time, are you also showing that example? It's just like a father that comes home one day and say we can no longer eat 3 times in a day because of how the economy is and all of that. So we'll now be eating morning and evening. But the children stop eating afternoon meals. But they come home and they see you are eating in the afternoon, but you were the one that said, no, let's eat morning and evening. You are breaking the same. That is what the politicians are pointing to and say there are inconsistencies in what the president said and what he's doing. There's a yacht that was being bought and they defended it. They said, no, it was, we needed a new one. A new aircraft was bought, even when civil societies protested and said, no, let's use the aircraft that we had for billions of naira. And they said, okay, it was for the safety of the president. We needed a brand new aircraft. That was not showing this level of let's bear, let's understand, things will get better. Those in the House of representative in the House of Assembly and in the Senate, they got new vehicles. you know, and Nigerians will raise concerns, and with every travel, taxpayers' monies are going there. A lot of Nigerians cannot afford this, so the president should mirror the Nigerian state. I'm not saying the president should not travel. The president can travel, but it shouldn't be to spend 22 days, and these are facts. To spend 22 days in 1 month outside your country, how does it feel? What are you doing there? I don't know. We don't have Minister of Foreign Affairs. We don't have Minister of Trade and Investment. I don't know people that could speak on your behalf. So we have to recalibrate our thinking. Yes, the president's role may not need him to be, but we need you. We are still a very traditional African society. We love to see the man in authority. We want to know that he's around.
The house needs to be around.
The father figure. We want to know he's around. So those are the issues Nigerians are raising, that yes, the president, I'm not in that school of thought that the president should not even travel. No, traveling is part of learning. Traveling is part of getting to understand best practices. How are other presidents doing? By interaction, you learn economics, there are a lot of things, ideas that can, you know, cross-fertilize by these travels. Yes, but excessive travels, that is what people are saying. When something they said, I remember those days we used to say, too much of everything is a disease. When it becomes too much, that's what Nigerians are saying. 22 days in 1 week. If you look at the data, in 2023, I think it was over 29 days, the whole of 2023, 2024, 2025, the days kept on piling. Why must it be Nigerian president? The same thing with Muhammadu Buhari. There's a time Buhari spent three months outside the shores of Nigeria.
I remember that they say if he doesn't come
why is it that Nigerian presidents are always at the even President Olusegun Obasanjo also did a lot of foreign trips. Is it that they don't have people with capacity that can speak? So let's limit the number of, except you can fund it, because you cannot be carrying all of this. And the same thing we say when politicians move and just one person and you see 7-8 cars moving. Yeah. That's waste of resources.
I'm even thinking one of the things that the president should also look into is the issue of entourage. All right, the so-called escort. If you can cut down the number, or if you can remove security operatives from VIPs, I don't think it's more than, all right, you asking maybe for a particular office holder to reduce the number of escorts. Number one, it causes a whole lot, like you just pointed to it. You know, but as a matter of fact, these are things that will soon be worked on. And now we want to talk about something very important to everyone, and that's the issue of breaking protocols. Because some persons have attained a particular position, the defense headquarters has come under heat because a personnel broke protocols at the airport. Some countries, you will be told that, well, even the president, all right, sometimes show very good examples, and people learn very fast. But in this part of the world, we've not seen that happening, all right? And probably, I think some of the papers said it was Yerima, you know, but then probably it may have happened with other personnel or VIPs per se before. Someone was saying something somewhere the other yesterday. I was watching a video of someone preaching, and he was talking about the fact that if you go to some countries, you go to some airports, the way you see people attending to VIPs and all of that, you don't see all of that. There are machines and there are instructions. You just go to the machine, check yourself in, and you go board your aircraft and all of that. The issue of breaking protocols in Nigeria, you are not a stranger to it. Even in school, at every level it happens. Jumping queue, you know, for instance. So what do you think? Now it's been said that our defense headquarters is facing heat as military personnel bypass airport checks. So what do you think about that? Do you think it's normal?
I think the way the Nigerian system is being set is, the setup is one that is easy for people who are in authority to.
Meaning it doesn't start.
No, I told you now. I told you one of the days I was traveling at the airport, and I was privileged because of the people, the class we're traveling with, to go into the executive, or what you call the VIP lounge at the airport, right? it's almost looking like two different this thing for different people. But there is a setup of the Nigerian system, because the Nigerian system understands that some persons are this, some persons are that. But you don't also totally blame Nigeria. If the countries that we look at, we say, developed countries, China claims. In the US, for instance, if you go to some restaurants, there are car parks for veterans. If you are a veteran, if you have served in the US Army at the point, there are special parks for them. Even some churches. There are some churches that you go to and they have special seats for veterans. So they respect people who have given their life to the services of the country.
In occasions too, there are high tables.
Yeah, so that is understood, that as a veteran you could. I remember those days. It's just that now Nigeria has gotten. Those days, if we queue up and we see a soldier come with a uniform, people could decide to say, okay, officer, don't worry, take my turn. And the soldier did not necessarily need to.
Can we say that's just respect?
Yes, because we understand that these guys, they stay awake for us to sleep. So Nigerians used to, and it's everywhere in the world. People could, but you don't intimidate people to say, a soldier, all of you leave. No, people out of respect will say, officer, I'll come after you, and all of that. So people could give their spaces and all of that. That respect is there worldwide. I just mentioned the US veterans are being respected. But what we have is that when we now have a situation where people deliberately, consistently, disregard the Nigerian institution, those are the avenues where we raise concern and say, no, it should not be so. No matter who you are, there are stated rules that should be followed by all Nigerians. So when you deliberately, go against our institution, because what holds us together as a people, what is preventing anarchy is the institutions. And these institutions are governed by rules and orders, right, that we must all respect, right? So it is sad that we constantly run into this kind of scenario where we see people who feel that they are close to power and do not need to respect traffic. Somebody, because you're a politician, you come, you sound alarms and you sound sirens and blow up everywhere, and start making noise everywhere. When the light is showing red, you should stop. You are not stopping. And it's not only the people that are blaming these guys. They're common persons on the streets. You get into a taxi in Abuja, and maybe the taxi guy is the only person on the streets. There's a red light indicating you should stop. You don't stop, and you pass. So we have to rethink the way, because at the end of the day, is these Nigerians who will get into these institutions, and once they get into the institution, their madness will maybe quadruple. Because already they were not already respecting the Nigerian country or the Nigerian states, the Nigerian institutions as civilians. So when they now get into a position where they feel that nobody, I'm a soldier, nobody can do anything, they can. Sometimes they will even be stopped by police. Maybe checks were going on. They got security reports. Some will not even wait to say, sorry, this is that. They will just keep driving, and you start to say, do you know who I am? That's the language. Do you know who I am? I can do this. Let me call this for you. So as a people, we have to rethink our morality.
So in other words, what you're saying, it's not just people in high positions.
It's a Nigerian, it's a system.
It's a systematic error, or societal
error. Systematic of the Nigerian state. It is what we have seen in every sector. Okay. From the civil servants to those in the financial sector, to those in security apparatus, to even, have you gone to hospitals and see the way some of our nurses and doctors behave? God who made me.
So nobody should blame the
no, I'm not saying nobody should blame. Now the flashlight is on the military. We have to talk about them. The military swore an oath to obey and to protect the constitution of Nigeria, and they should lead. There should be shining examples of leadership, shining examples of respect to our badges and our constitution. So if there is a rule that this is where you follow, check in, go here, get your ticket, and allow yourself for proper checks before you have to submit yourself to the process. You cannot boycott the institutions that hold us accountable. You cannot do that, and tomorrow you you expect other people to respect you when you tell them don't boycott. It's not done that way. So we must, as all Nigerians now, because yes, the flashlight now is on the defense headquarters, but it is not only the defense headquarters. That's what I'm trying to say. It is systematic of the Nigerian state, and we must work on respecting our institutions, and not just because you are head of school, you can go to school late, but if your staff comes 5 minutes before the time, you deduct 2,000. No, it doesn't work that way.
That's being above the law.
Yeah, we must lead by example. If you tell somebody don't do it, you too, you must not do it.
That's right. All right. It is still Journalist Roundtable, and we're looking at some of the headlines, bringing them to you the way it is on the national dailies, and giving a perspective to it. We're doing an analysis of it, and of course, I'm being joined on the program by Ubom Usoro, who is in the studio here, and of course, Utni Kennedy Rex, who also is on his way, but have been with us online. Now, let's look at another very important issue now, Usoro. As a matter of fact, health workers, okay, going on strike. Sometimes, I don't know, I don't want to sound like I'm being emotional, because I know how the system works. Just the way you talk about systematic issue in the with the Nigerian state. The issue of health workers going on strike, can we say there is some level of insensitivity from the parties involved? It's on the papers today.
Yeah, I think it is sad that it has become a recurring decimal in the Nigerian system that our health workers must always go to strike. Johesu, resident doctors, consultants, name them. They must always go to strike for their petitions and their protestations to be listened to, or their reliefs to be granted by the Nigerian state, right? It is because, one, a lot of our leaders do not even use these health facilities. So they do not care what happens. But the common man, myself, yourself, and a couple of our friends, these are the facilities that we use. So it means a lot to us when we speak about our health facilities, and it is saddening that at the slightest, you hear them, they've gone on strike again. And we know that Johesu has been making demands with government, talking about their salary scale upgrade, talking about promotion areas, and a few other things that they've listed as their demands. And the government has also, shown some body language. But I think that this particular government, we must acknowledge this government to some extent, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, regarding negotiations with labor unions. We've seen a more cerebral, we've seen a more conversational, we've seen a more approachable governance in terms of negotiation. Remember when the former administration, their negotiation tactics, it was more of a draconian kind of negotiating tactics that they used to have with labor unions. But we've seen some level of reasoning, and knowing that most of the demands that are placed on this government now did not start with this government. Right, these are demands that some of them have been 15 years old, 20 years old. They kept coming. They were just able to clear whatever grievances they had with ASU the other time. So we've had the educational sector. There've been lingering issues over years. The health sector too. There've been lingering issues over years, but they've not been able to, at the moment, totally finalize the agreements that will lead to termination of this constant disruption of our health systems. They've not done that yet, but we are hoping that they will be able to do, because we've seen, some level of goodwill. But I feel that we also have to talk to our systems. We need to have a system that will be adjustable, because some of the things the health workers are complaining about is that most of their fellow workers have left the country because of pay. They've compared they've talked about payments with best practices all over the world, and I think these are issues that can be addressed by the government.
All right, let's get connected to O'Neill right there. Mr. Rex, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, let's look at some other issues. Well, we just talked about health workers strike brands hospitals. The issue of strike in Nigeria, even if anyone must go on strike, that of the health workers, we know what happens when they go on strike. So what do you think about this? Is it that one of these parties is being insensitive to the plight of Nigerians, or the strike is necessitated by certain factors that nothing can be done about it at that very particular point of striking?
Okay, so let me say that I'd want to permit me to speak from two sides of the coin. Now, when I say two sides of the coin, one as I'm trying to think as a health worker, and secondly trying to be as a citizen. Now, from the angle of health workers, the strike is necessary. Because why am I saying it's necessary? To any challenge that the health sector is facing. Look at during the COVID time, for example. Let's try our minds back a bit. Look at during the COVID time, when people were going down with COVID, they had to be taken to the hospitals, to isolation centers, and the like of it. Was it you and I that was there? No. Do we even know what we're supposed to do? No. These people were working around the clock 24/7 to ensure that lives are not lost, to ensure that they can manage the situation as the case may be, to ensure that they come up with a viable solution to how COVID can be handled. Nationwide, worldwide, and was it achieved? Yes, it was achieved. Today, we are living COVID-free because of the dedication of these people. So these people are actually not being appreciated enough. Look at the brain drain of health workers that we have in Nigeria. In the past, late President Buhari did 8 years. Tinubu is in his third year now. So in the past 11 years, how many medical doctors have left Nigeria? Is it countable?
No, I can't.
A lot of them have left, and as a result of what? Not being taken care of. And when we say taking care of them, it's not like you have to pamper them. It's not like you have to bag them. These things are basic everywhere. Give them what is rightfully theirs. What is it they are fighting for? Almost everything that happens in Nigeria that you hear strike being involved. When you now look at it, where? At least 70% of what they are fighting for is money. Money. Why are you holding this money back? Why are you not releasing this money? Every year we have budgets that is supposed to cover this thing. Even if it's not the money that you can pay in 1 year. That is why there is a table called negotiation. That is why there is something called the budget in Nigeria. Now, if you tell them that the budget of 2026, out of the budget of 2026, 3% is going to you people. Come on. Or 3% from the budget for health this year is going to you people. Is it too much to ask? Do you think they will go on strike? No, because at least when that 3% comes, certain things will have been taken care of. The next year will come, another 3% or 2% is given to them. Before you know, in 2 years, in 3 years, in 5 years, whatever their demands are will have been met. Now, the health sector is a very important sector that needs to be taken seriously. Now, when I say taken seriously, look at some few days back, we had somebody that died. The story broke out as a result of snake bite. I don't know if you heard that story.
Yes, I did.
Good. And the back and forth, if you had followed the story properly, she and other persons were able to get to the hospital before she died. Now, from the story, they said one part of the story will say they got to the hospital, they there's no anti-snake venom, that's why she died. And then another part of the story said there was anti-snake venom, but it's not good. That one they administered to her and she died. Well, I did a little bit follow up and I realized that actually anti-snake venom was given to her. But you know the problem with anti-snake venom is you need to be sure of what snake beats you. Do you understand? And in being sure, it's not like Panadol or paracetamol that you just see headache and you buy anyone and you throw in your mouth and you swallow. No. This one needs specifics. Anti-snake venom is made specifically for specific type of snake. If it's a cobra that beats you, cobra has its own. If it's a python, python has its own. So when I administer that of python for cobra, it doesn't work. And that's the case of what's happened. Now when you now ask yourself, where is the place of training for these health professionals? Because inside all this panic and everything, when you meet a well-trained professional, by looking at your leg or your hand or wherever was beaten, even if I'm not able to tell you the kind of snake that beats me, by looking at the way it is, you have an idea of the kind of snake that beats the person. Because not every snake, all the snake fangs are positioned differently. This is so bringing me to answer your question of how important the health sector is. Because if we have well-trained and qualified personnel, such things like this will be happening. They won't be giving you drugs for malaria when you see that is worrying you.
Oh, all right. Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Kennedy. Now, let me ask this question now. There is, for 2027, there is a speculation that there might be an alliance between Kwankwaso and Peter Obi in ADC. And there are speculations that Atiku Abubakar may leave the ADC. As it is right now, what would you make of that rumor? And as a matter of fact, it's on the paper. That's why we're treating it right now. What do you think of ADC as a party? The members of ADC, Peter Obi, Atiku, and the rest of them, and as it has to do with presidential flag bearer.
Well, just like you called it, I feel they are not serious yet. I've not seen any political party. Well, so far so good. I don't know what tomorrow is going to be. I don't know what next month is going to be. But so far so good. I've not seen any political party that I would say is ready for the 2027 general elections, judging by their body language and movement. Like I said, things could change. Now, looking at the rumor, is it viable? I want to ask. Because, I remember sometimes in December, early December last year, late November, early December, El-Rufai was talking about how the ADC will still maintain the zoning, the general zoning. So, when that story broke out, it now left the next question on people's lips. Now, who is from the same zone that can defeat the sitting president? And looking at the members that were in ADC at that moment, the El-Rufai, the Atiku, the Aregbesola, David Mark, and the likes of them, you didn't have any viable person. Until this year, where we got the story again that Peter Obi had announced his decamping from Labour Party to the ADC. Now that now looks like, okay, these people, they were on the drawing board, making plans and something. But now, when you say Kwankwaso, so with all due respect, I don't mean any disrespect to Kwankwaso, is Kwankwaso that strong to conquer the north for ADC? Kwankwaso is a one-state man. Now, why am I saying so? Let's take our memories back a bit. The last general election, Kwankwaso contested for president under the NNPP. True or false?
Very true, yeah.
Good. And when you look at the total vote amassed by all candidates, or false?
Go ahead.
Kwankwaso had the highest votes as far as Kano is concerned, but other states from the north, he didn't do well. He didn't do well. Atiku was the stronger candidate as far as the north is concerned. Peter Obi was stronger when it comes to the eastern part of the country. And then, of course, the sitting president had the western part of the country. And then the small pocket numbers that he got from other parts of the country was what was able to push him forward to victory. But looking at the numbers, if we won't go by judging by the numbers of the last general election, these men stood individually. Nobody was running with anybody. Everybody went on his own individually. Peter Obi, flag bearer of Labour Party. Kwankwaso, NNPP. Atiku, PDP. Mr. President, APC. So, that's why I said I think they are not serious yet. Because if you want to be able to take out the seat or the power from Mr. President, one, you need to be able to have a viable presidential candidate, somebody who is sellable. Yes, Peter Obi is sellable. People are asking that question, yes. But the question here is Kwankwaso sellable? Is he sellable for the people in the north? Are they buying into his ideology? Do you think they will want him? He stood alone. The north didn't want him. What makes you think that they will want him now? And let's not also forget, in everything that you do politically, we don't take away tribalism from politics. As far as Nigeria is concerned, and let's be honest with ourselves, we know that politics works.
Oh, all right.
And tribalism is not taken away.
Oh, all right.
And then how would you...
All right. Othniel. Kennedy, thank you. I think you just hit the nail on the head now. Let me ask Usoro in the studio. Our time is almost up. Before we go, Usoro, what do you think about this alliance? Is it a possibility?
I think that the ADC is very strongly connected with the person of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. And if something like this must go through, his blessings must be sorted and given, which I doubt he will. So if he does not, I don't see that happening. The ADC is primarily a vehicle, massively endorsed by Atiku Abubakar. They have serious respect for
his political ambition, right? What do you think?
The signs are clear. They have serious respect for him. So will he sanction this? I think no. And if he doesn't sanction it...
But nobody is asking him out. He's the one deciding based on the rumor.
Who?
Atiku Abubakar.
That's what I'm saying. If he does not agree and sanction it... some persons have said Atiku should play the role of an elder statesman.
An elder statesman, so those the father of the party.
Yeah, so if he decides to play that role, fine and good, he will...
But do you think that role is going to pay him?
He may become a godfather if he decides to play the role, fine and good. But if he does not, it won't work.
All right. Thank you very much, Ubong Usoro, for this very wonderful time that we've had on our Journalist Hangout today. I would thank you very much, Rex Othniel, for being part of the program this evening. All right, everyone.